What about caring for the autistic? Any particular words of care that you could sometimes I miss the word. Yes, I know. Is there any form of care specific to autistic that you would recommend, is the word I was looking for, to a parent or a guardian of someone who is autistic?
Absolutely. The early intervention, that goes back to what I was saying previously. The wait and watch policy will not help a child with an autism spectrum disorder. In fact, research shows that from ages 1 to 2 years of age, the brain is still developing. And if therapy is started, most of those symptoms of autism can be worked on, whatever is specific to your child. There's no cure. But early intervention during those preschool years can help the child and the family manage those behavior issues and teach them how to cope better in social situations. Also, behavioral therapy, that involves teaching parents how to reach out to their children. Also, if your child is suffering from hyperactivity, convulsions, the stimming that we see, the back and forth, that sensory, sleep problems, early medical management. That would be some of the things I would begin with, the early care. That has been my experience, that the sooner we get started, the better the outcome of success for the child.
The one thing that comes to mind as I'm hearing some of the answers is money. There are a lot of people who don't have a lot of resources, especially for behavioral stuff and doctors like that. So is there something that you can recommend for someone who maybe doesn't have the means to go out and be as proactive, or even the time to be as proactive, because they got to work 2 and 3 jobs just to make sure that everybody can eat?
Mm-hmm.
Like what could you recommend for a parent who's going through those types of challenges?
Mm-hmm. What a loaded question, but
It
a good
is.
one. That's a loaded. What are you doing to me? So, I can speak personally, and personally because my niece was diagnosed autistic, and I know my brother, that was something that he went through. And I can speak professionally as well. And I tread very lightly with this. This is the time to take that 1 or 2 days off of work to see your team, to meet with the team, and look at those resources that are available, oftentimes through the state and through the government and through your medical team and your individualized education team, your special education team with the school that your child is designated to. I've worked as a coordinator, so I do see parents that can only give me a call, that can text me, but that engagement is what's going to carry your child from early intervention through their transition years. And it is difficult. And I struggle with that answer, because I know it's difficult for a parent who has multiple children or multiple jobs. But now is the time, because I've seen instances where the children weren't tended to until 8th, 9th, 10th grade. And, I have an instance where a child wasn't tended to until that age, and he struggled with bathing, and he didn't know how to wash his own clothes. And this was a grown man, basically. So I've seen what that looks like from the disengagement. So that would be something that I would stress to parents to do. But I struggle with that answer, but that's a good one. That's a good one. Mm-hmm.
Other topics related to dealing with autism that I've heard about, just want to get your take on a couple of these. And for instance, bolting. That's something that I didn't even know about until recently. Mm-hmm. And can you explain what that is, and just kind of explain what's going on with that?
Yeah. So the term is bolting or eloping, where basically the child runs, either running from the teacher, the paraprofessional, the family, bolting, from the parent, like if they're in the grocery store. Again, I bring that back to the early intervention and the behavioral therapy that can take place, and working with your special education team, your medical team together collaboratively. And so it's not adversarial. That way you can start getting those skills. And the professionals, your related service providers, can begin teaching those skills to the child, finding the triggers, finding what causes them to bolt, and begin implementing some strategies.
Okay. And so that sounds like an answer that's going to be repeated. So if I'm saying it like overprotection, is that's another, what is overprotection first off?
Well, you get, what's that term? Helicopter parents, or they're afraid to let their children go and out into the world. I think that's special education or not special education, but I can understand there's a little bit more, with parents, they're afraid that their child is going to get hurt or taken advantage of, or they're not going to come home. That goes back into that lifelong early intervention through the transition process, that you are tending to that IEP, that those related services are being provided and taught. So then the child can go out and experience life independently. You have those instances of children who will need, adult rehabilitation services and placements in residential homes and things of that nature. However, some children thrive and they are able to move forward independently on their own. But I believe with parents, I believe with parents, special education or not, I believe that
Well, is there anything else that you just in closing that you'd like to share, or that's something important, a takeaway from this conversation?
Yes. Just to once again emphasize, asking those questions. By law, as a parent, your IEP, it's a law-binding document. And it's important that your vision, your voice, and then once your child becomes at the appropriate age, their vision and their voice is well documented. Oftentimes, what I see is that the disengagement or the fear of parents not wanting to ask the questions, or they just don't know, they kind of take a back seat to the process. And that's not the case at all. This is your child, and we are a community, and this is what we are doing to make sure that all the members of our community are supported. So that's what I would definitely emphasize for parents. Ask those questions and keep going. Knock on those doors. Tap a few people on their shoulders. And make sure that your child is supported.
Well, thank you for that. I think that's a very good answer too.
Thank you.
Well, thank you again for talking with us about this particular topic today. And we'll check you out next time.
Sounds good. Thank you, everybody. So good to see you, Scott.
Same here.
Okay.